How's it going, family? Let me know if you can hear me. All right, we got about 200 beautiful, beautiful souls with us here, now, present. Seems like my audio is good. And if you can do me a favor, go ahead and give this video a like, thumbs up, will help with the algorithm, as usual. Gonna get some visuals going. Shout out to Decode Your Reality. I hope you're doing amazing, brother. 79. 100 is around the corner. Appreciate everyone's support. Appreciate you for showing up, Logan. I hope you're having an amazing Saturn's Day wherever you are. All right, I'm just going to give it a couple minutes, let these notifications go out. The thumbnail. Sorry. I'm going to do my best to hold up today with my voice. I have a big surprise to let everyone know about, but the past 2 days has been a lot more talking than usual, so mama me, you know how it goes. But anyways, oh man, I hope I can make it. One second. So, the thumbnail happened actually as a joke from a podcast I did yesterday. Shout out to Juan on Juan podcast. It was amazing to reconnect with him. It's almost been 2 years since the last time me and him got together, and he called me the esoteric Dr. Phil, and I started cracking up. I thought it was hilarious. It's kind of true. Even though I don't really know what Dr. Phil, like, who the fuck is Dr. Phil? I don't even know. But I sense he's right. Caring about people's feelings and stuff. All right. Anyways, let's get into things. 350 hanging out with us. I appreciate y'all. Breathe in air. I appreciate you. Much love over to Australia. You said getting so much value from your expansion mastermind. I appreciate you and your work so much. That really, really means a lot to me. Really appreciate that. It's a beautiful thing to start this out with. I'm really grateful to be a part of your journey. Shout out to Australia, man. Got a big wolf pack growing out there. It's beautiful. Hmm. Breathe in air. You mentioned a white hoodie. I can probably pull that off for you. Can you just go ahead and send me an email to my support email? Go ahead and do that within 24 hours or so. Whenever I get into my inbox, I'll be able to see what I could do. I would definitely imagine that I can make that happen. Actually, got a super chat from Breathe in Air. I appreciate you. Sending lots of love. You said, please give example of trusting everyone and believe only in self versus trust no one and believe in others. How could play out each way? I struggle with understanding probably some residual childhood trauma. So, what Breathe in Air is referencing? Sorry, maybe my microphone's a little too loud. Give me a second. I hope my mic's not too loud. Kind of right there on the sweet spot, I believe. But what Breathe in Air is referencing has to do with something that I bring up quite often in my stream of consciousness, which is to trust everyone and only believe in yourself. And what that means is we need to kind of like reestablish what it means to trust and also check in with what belief is. Belief is an incredibly powerful technology and one of the most abused technologies. And it's unfortunate because it's so powerful, when one abuses it, the sense of self gets lost. And this is an interesting kind of play on things because a lot of people have this assumption that the ego is a bad thing. But in actuality, the ego is kind of just like a muscle. And if you don't use it, you lose it. But also, if you overindulge in the identity consciousness, well, you'll notice that everything in this reality no longer is in service to you anymore and it repels you. You're not one with all. So there's a balance point here. Like all things, one must be neutral because if you're more on the alkaline side, you'll also have no life force. If you're too far on the acidic side, you'll have no life force. So it's about being somewhere in that middle path. But to kind of summarize what this idea is, I thought quite a bit about this idea of trusting no one, which we're all taught, right? I grew up in New York, in New York City, and it's natural to teach all of us to trust nobody. And then I started to ask myself, well, what does it actually mean to be abundant? What does it mean to seek abundance or to manifest abundance or whatever? What does that mean? Well, how could you possibly allow in abundance into your life if you trust no one? You've effectively deleted all the channels to allow this prana or life force to flow into, this currency. So, if you want to be abundant, you need to reestablish your relationship with trust and maybe question what's popular. Because we all have to admit that it's quite popular to hear the phrase trust no one. And also, humans are seemingly very trustworthy. We seem to like to trust the wrong institutions, but it's not that we're having an issue with allowing the trust for them, it's that we have damaged egos. We become so selfless, there's no self left. And then you become an instrument that's used to serve someone else's purpose. And this is a tragedy, but this is the human condition. So, the opposite of what I'm saying, which is trust no one and believe in others, well, that's what the system does. The system operates exactly as such. And again, with what I started with, we abuse belief. Look at how often through religion we've forfeited self completely and become cult members, and we don't even realize it because we're a part of a group think. And when you're a part of the group, you feel comfortable. You have that safety net below you of Christianity or Judaism or being a Scientologist or a Mormon or Jehovah's Witness or whatever it is. See, my thing is I don't have any gripe with any particular religion. I'm just looking at it for what it is as a technology. And it's that belief. And how do we use it? And like all things that are used, typically it's the human who abuses it. So, my take on it all, if I had to just summarize it, is by trusting everyone, I'm now allowing abundance, but believing only in self through the awareness that I am the universe. All things exist because I exist, as above, so below, as within, so without. Nothing is without you. You are all. Now you could take that, apply it to where you're at, whatever past experiences you had, and I believe you'll start to see some utility. Warrior Bones asks, what brand of coffee and tea do you recommend? Well, when it comes to tea, I would definitely recommend finding high quality ceremonial grade tea from China. I'm not sure what your level of awareness is in this field, but consider looking up Gung Fu style tea, where you would utilize a gaiwan and not a teapot. So you would invest in a gaiwan, and this way of making tea uses a large amount of leaf and a small amount of water. Think of it like an espresso shot almost, where in an espresso, it's a concentrated amount of coffee with a much higher ratio of coffee to water, whilst most filter coffee has a lot of water and a very little amount of coffee. With Gung Fu style tea, it's a lot of leaf, little bit of water, and instead of a 3 or 4 minute steeping in one massive cup of tea, it's many, many cups of tea. So you would take the same amount of tea leaf and you would brew it in some instances 10 to 15 times, depending on if it's, for instance, a pu'er tea. But something really light and fresh, like a white tea, that would be maybe 4 to 6 steepings. Maybe like a green tea, a real green tea, by the way, would be maybe 6 to 8, maybe 10 steepings before it loses its life force. And basically, you're really having a relationship with this tea as you're brewing it cup by cup, and you want to share it with somebody if you can. And this would be loose leaf tea and any ceremonial grade Chinese tea would be amazing. I don't know what brand to recommend to you because I don't know what country you live in or any of that. And I'm sure if you just search some of those keywords I gave you, you're going to be able to come across something good. But when it comes to coffee beans, oh yeah, Dustin already answered this for me, and I'm going to stick to this answer, especially if you're in the USA. Go with Say Coffee out of Brooklyn, New York. Absolutely amazing. If you're over there in Europe, I would maybe go with Drop Coffee out in Sweden. Excuse me. I think Drop Coffee is out of Stockholm. Then you have Coffee Collective out of Copenhagen, Denmark. April Coffee is amazing, also out of Denmark. What else? Good Life Coffee, if it's possible, out of Finland. There's so many great coffee companies, but Say is my favorite for sure. Warrior Bones, a follow-up super chat. I really appreciate you, your support. When it comes to Martin Armstrong's economic confidence model theory, I've heard of it, but I've never studied it. So unfortunately, I can't answer this. But the only reason I've heard of it is because I've had maybe two or three members of the community over the past couple of years bring it up. But I have not been sent links or like information really, maybe just some blog posts, and you guys know me, I don't like to read, seriously. And I gotta admit, gotta be very honest at this time, I am so dialed in and laser focused into my own art that I'm not really making myself too available to the other things that are going on. No offense to any of those artists, and no offense to any other decoders or people that are doing their great work. It's just where I'm at right now. You need to remember, like, I've been saying certain things about this market that we're watching right now, the market we're watching unfold. I've been saying certain things about this market a year in advance, and we're watching some of that play out today. So I'm just sticking to what is working for me, and everything else is kind of just there for entertainment. But I have my own system. It's working very well. No, this isn't to throw any shade at this individual, Martin Armstrong. I'm sure what they do is great work. I just have no idea about it. So appreciate your support though, Warrior Bones. Chenzo, sending you love, bro. I hope you're having an amazing Saturday. Me and this gem over here are gonna be making something that's gonna blow your minds. I won't say anything else. I don't like to talk about something unless I have a working product and unless I have something that I'm, really certain of the delivery, but I'm feeling good about it. That was beautiful. We almost got 500 people up in here. Feel free to go ahead and send the link to this live stream into your socials, whether that be on IG or x.com or even over on YouTube. Appreciate you spreading the love. And Ash, appreciate you. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Okay, Lev R mentioned something in follow up to Warrior Bones. He says, "Funny you mention Armstrong, Waters, and Armstrong coincidence on the March-April time period on the war cycle escalation." So, wow, okay, great. My whole take on March-April 2025 has specifically to do with the United States, and potentially that would be the time frame they enter this current war. It would be shocking if the US really goes full-fledged into this World War III before the end of this year. Like, it would be surprising. And more than likely, 90% chance that the United States goes into this ongoing war during the year of the snake. So that would be after the very end of January of 2025 leading into February. And it's specifically that March, April timeframe because that's the true new year. So they're going to ritualize that equinox as they usually do. Not on the exact day, but there'll be numerology to dial it in even more. There'll be some astrological significance to dial it in even more, of course. But I'm just saying in general, if I just give you a blanket idea, time frame, it would be around the exoteric equinox date, the 20th of March. Much love over to Bulgaria. I love it. I love seeing so many countries hanging out with us today. It's beautiful. Also, really quickly, I mean, I got to admit, I don't know too much of the situation that's going on right now, but over in Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, a bunch of states in the southeast of the USA have been dealing with some pretty horrifying natural disasters, flooding from this hurricane. So we're sending you all lots of love. I mean, I know it's just words, I know it's just a live stream here, but it is really, really tragic to hear some people's houses were destroyed from trees falling over or flooding. It's crazy. I think Kentucky was also affected, so sending out love and just hope you and your families are okay. Truly. Westcott Crypto. How you doing, bro? I have no idea what's going on with Pulse Chain, Hex, any of that. I've been none of those people talk to me anymore. I don't know what happened. What's the problem? I gave these guys some crazy upside targets. I told them, I warned many people many times. I gave them the upside targets and then I gave them the downside targets. And they crucified me for it. And then it happened. And then it went lower. And then it went lower. Then it went lower. And they're still, I don't know what it is. And they don't want to talk to me anymore. It's all love, though. It's all love. It's all love in my world. I'm just the guy handing out the clear pill. Just looking through some of the chat right now. Sigma Crow, love you too. And I have reached out back to Archaics because he mentioned to me that he wanted to get back together soon. And he also mentioned that he wanted to do a roundtable between me, him, and Logan over at Decode Your Reality. Again, I'm not entirely sure when we're going to be able to make that happen, but I would love to. So it'd be great. Look at this squirrel eating like a fucking Doritos bag or something. This is the most perfect picture of humanity right here. It's like this pure squirrel, and they're just like a crumpled up Doritos bag in the middle of a hike. It's like people say that that's an American problem. No, it's not. I've seen that shit all over the place. That's just humanity. That's a picture of the human spirit right there. A squirrel and a fucking crushed up Doritos bag. Welcome to 2024. May I take your order? JDM crypto. I heard about this. It's a joke, right? It's about like is it an asteroid? I forgot. I'm bored reading stuff, so I wait till people tell me. But I heard about this, the second moon. XRP Sus says, bro, that last Good Morning Crypto live you were on got spicy. So, oh no. Yeah, shout out to Good Morning Crypto Show. Shout out to Johnny Crypto. Shout out to Gonzo. Shout out to Abs. I'm not sure if any of them are hanging out with us today. I've gotten some follow up since that. And, I mean, I'm not trying to be divisive. I'm also not even trying to be controversial. This is just the way I am, And I really appreciate the fact that they keep inviting me on. They allow me to speak my truth. I know it started getting into some of these ideas about religion and, the XRP army and how it effectively operates like a cult. And I mean, I wasn't saying what I was saying for the first time, and that's what's strange. And I get that they're a very rapidly growing community. And it's because of the work of JV. He's really doing well. He's growing at an alarming rate. Shout out to him too. He was one of the first, larger YouTube channels to invite me on and to chat. And it would be great to reconnect with him. I haven't spoke to him in probably a couple of years now, I think. But anyways, when I get on their show, I don't adjust anything for anyone. It's not like I am trying to be a specific way on the Good Morning Crypto Show versus the way that I would be on a YouTube video or here in these live streams. It's just the same waters you get is the same all the time. It just depends on what temperature do I want to raise the sauna up to tonight, you know? Is it gonna it's like how sweaty do we wanna get? And I mean, it's clear that this religion thing is very triggering to a lot of people. Like, it's clear to me. And it's confusing, you know? But then I'm like, okay, well, that's how the transition into a new age will be. We're just gonna have extremes, lots of polarizing, just tug of war between what's the left and what's the right and what's the red and what's the blue and what's the good and what's the evil, and it's just fucking never gonna stop. And so it's not like I don't expect some complaints, when I'm doing my thing. But I'm also like, damn, man, why are people so sensitive? I thought it was so funny. There was a couple moments during that live where I was even called like a Bitcoin maxi, you know? And that's like the same exact way somebody treats somebody when they're not a Christian. They're like, well, you're not going to make it through the pearly gates, you know? You're not, because you don't believe in Christ. You're not going to do, it's like, what? When did this thing become a thing here in the world of finance? Like, if we're gonna talk crypto, investing, finance, and all these things, like, why is it becoming this, like, weird going to church thing now? Like, are we at church? Like, what the fuck, you know? Why are people getting triggered? So strange. Anyways, I'm gonna move on. Okay. We're getting some negative Dr. Phil, guys. It's a joke, guy. Like, we're laughing. We're having fun. We're having fun today. Belly Chavez, much love over to San Diego. Hope you're having some great weather right now, because some places in the country are definitely not. Much love over to Alberta, Canada. Darcy Klein. Australia in the house. Ray Roland, appreciate you. Peg Fen says, nice surprise on a date night. That's what's up. I got a super chat from Crypto as a side hustle. Appreciate you. They shared, accept what you cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's a bar. I really appreciate your support. Sending lots of love. Hope you're having a beautiful Saturn day wherever you are. Got this quote, trust is not binary, rather a spectrum. Well, everything about the human experience is on a spectrum. The issue is that we've kind of shut it down, turned it into this black and white thing. And that's where it's incredibly divisive. And really, it's like a rusty tool at that point. Can't really get too much work done. Truther Warrior 111. I appreciate the support. Jeff Garrison, hope you're having a beautiful Saturn day, brother. JDM Crypto, I appreciate you. I'm not really sure too much about this moon. Or are you asking about the upcoming eclipse? Because if you're asking about this upcoming eclipse, it'll be the final solar eclipse of Bitcoin's super cycle before we move into the following Gregorian year, where we will start a lunar cycle on the total lunar eclipse of March 13th, 2025. So we effectively have this small window of time, which is actually in crypto terms is a very long period of time, like almost 6 months, to have the expansion phase for the crypto market and the all awaited alt season, which of course would need Bitcoin to enter price discovery. That's right, Ed. Don't date it, don't hate it, just trade it. Jay, I appreciate your super chat. You said family friend, 34-year stud male diagnosed with cancer, still awaiting PET scan. What protocol would you recommend to holistically fight it? Thanks. I would go to a purely raw, as fruit based as possible. And that includes things such as cucumber, heirloom tomatoes, and celery, high water content fruits, and I would juice if you really want to speed up this process of healing. Then after a couple months of that protocol, having and I could give you kind of what I think would be a solid juicing protocol. It would be apple turmeric root, so not turmeric powder, but turmeric root, ginger root, and apple juice. Okay, that would be one juice you can make, and then celery cucumber juice, and then also beetroot, uh, maybe some heirloom tomato if you can afford it and if you could get it, because that's really packed with minerals, and organic minerals. And you could kind of mix those three juices up if you'd like. And then keep apple and cucumber as your base. It's usually pretty affordable if you do that. Nothing wrong if you have any in-season fruits available and you want to use those. I would avoid things like bananas. I would avoid dried fruit as well. And whenever you get a fresh fruit in season that's available to you, go with those, right? Highest quality you can find. And nothing wrong with greens, but really no point. There's really no point with the vegetables. Of course, certain herbs are incredibly powerful, but we kind of just want to allow the kidneys to start filtering again, and we want to start pushing out lymph. We want lymph to drain, and this will be one of the best ways to knock out two birds with one stone. I hate saying that, but that's, you guys all know what I mean by that, where we could effectively hydrate the body, and then we could get the kidneys rebooted and start doing what they're designed to do, to filter out your body's waste, the waste disposal system. And then this will prevent that waste which is lymph, from spilling over into the bloodstream, which is going to lead to all these illnesses and all of this inflammation and chronic fatigue and many other things, obesity. You could continue going. And for the amount of juice, just as much as it satiates you. And after a couple months of doing that, you're most likely ready to do some dry fasting. And with those dry fasts, that's no water, no anything, no food. And if you could push it for 48 hours, then that's amazing. And since you're already on juice, you would just break your fast with juice, and then go maybe 2 weeks on juice again, then do the dry fast. Keep doing that. Yeah, you'll be on your way. Also, I'm not a licensed healthcare professional. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not your physician. So that is not medical advice. This is just a protocol that I would personally be doing if I wanted to detox the body and if I wanted to rebuild damaged tissue and get myself on the right track if I was experiencing what is called dis-ease. 2 trades, sending lots of love. I appreciate you. Artak, thank you for helping me remember. For real. Anyways, we got about 500, almost 600 hanging out with us. I wanted to let you all know that within the next 48 hours or so, maybe 3 days, I'm aiming for October 1st. All right. I'm aiming for October 1st. I will be releasing a free crypto course over on my website. So if you are interested in that, you can go over to my website, watersabove.com. You can sign up to the email list. I will have a link that I will be sharing very soon. Likely on October 1st, I'll be revealing well, I'll be releasing that, but I'll be making a YouTube video, and that's just my easiest way of delivering it because I know only a couple of you are going to listen to these live streams, right? So I will be releasing a YouTube video to remind everyone or let everyone know that that free course is available. I just need a couple more days. I want to design the web page that it'll be on to be as smooth and seamless and user friendly as possible. So you all have a good experience. Even though it is a free course, I still care so much about the user experience. And by the way, I've been putting a lot of hours in behind the scenes to change some things about my website. So again, it's just going to continue to be optimized more and more, refined more and more. And I really care about you guys. I really am so grateful for all of the support. And I just want you all to um, really have the biggest takeaway of value whenever you're investing in my art. So that free course will be out soon. And for the Patreon supporters, I will have additional bonus content I will be releasing for you guys as well, just to show my gratitude. So for anyone who is a Patreon supporter of our mastermind community over at patreon.com/watersabove, you will be getting an even bigger course released to you. If you only knew how many hours I've been working on this behind the scenes. So you'll be getting a new Red Pill podcast tomorrow, and then on the first of the month of October, you guys will be getting a pretty solid amount of course material. It's a crypto course, but I'm really sharing as much as I can in that. Uh, I basically took the last 2 years to take in as many frequently asked questions as possible about technical analysis, reading the charts, and pretty much made this course designed around that. So, really excited. Be a comprehensive free crypto course I'll be releasing over on my website. And even got something a little special extra for the Patreon supporters, and I just want to let you know how grateful I am for you all, truly. The man from Mansfield says, "Hey Jordan, went to an Archaics meetup today. Jason gave you a lot of credit for the moon phase analysis you've brought forward. Interesting meetup, first of my kind. Hope you're doing well." Shout out to Archaics, man. I mean, that's really dope that he's open minded to this stuff, because when we first connected, I'm not sure if he thought that I was only really into crypto, and then we ended up having a conversation, and then we did our first podcast, and he saw that I was about a lot more. But then on our last podcast, he gave me that chance to try to just fill him in on a big find in my work, and got to show a quick presentation of the moon phases, and I also kind of gave him some of a snippet of the solar and lunar cycles, these longer 700-day cycles. So yeah, really dope that he's acknowledging that and that he finds it to be valuable, because he's another one of those researchers where he finds very, very eye-opening discoveries. So it definitely means a lot to get that recognition. Kalai, my love, said just left Virginia Beach meetup with Archaics and now water's above for the drive home. Life is good. That's amazing. I appreciate you. Did it get weird in Virginia, guys? Did you guys get the storm there too? The hurricane? Let me know. Hope you guys are fine, man. I mean, I've heard some horror stories about this recent hurricane. Pavel, yeah, to me, heaven and hell are just states of consciousness, and we all can make a decision which one of those we want to reside in at any moment. You could be in a multi-million dollar mansion with every nice, technological luxury, a beautiful swimming pool and a hot tub and all of that stuff, but you could be in an argument with your wife. And all of that nice shit that surrounds you is irrelevant. And there's a bad mood, there's a bad vibe, there's a bad essence. It feels like you're in hell. Heaven and hell are just states of consciousness. I've even spoken to people who are incredibly wealthy, but they're depressed. They have it all on the surface, but they're spiritually bankrupt. And I mean, that's what it is. And having that awareness, having that knowing allows you to be a lot more simple, a lot more ready to adapt. A lot of people are very stubborn in that way. And perhaps that's something we should talk about more a little bit later in today's live, if there's anything relevant that comes up. But I've been thinking about this a lot lately, how one of the most incredible tools to have is just the seamless adaptability at any given moment. It's like sailing a boat. You need to know how to adjust the sails and how to deal with this weather. Sometimes it's clear skies, but then out of nowhere, some clouds start rolling in. What do you do? Well, the one who's the most skilled at adapting at the very moment they need to, well, that's the one that succeeds. So, success is truthfully also just a state of consciousness. And what success can be summarized into is the one who is able to adapt when necessary. Artemis Quick, you said October 2nd should be a pump, right? Well, it's not as basic as that. It should be October 17th, the final lunar eclipse of our year, and also the last eclipse that we'll have all the way until March of 2025. I see your follow-up, so you are clearly paying attention. Good job. And that's a big piece to it because a full moon's a full moon's a full moon, right? So October 17th is a almost lunar eclipse. It's a full moon. Not as powerful as a total lunar eclipse, but what we could see being the play is actually quite similar to 2020. And if you remember, right around December 20th, I believe, of 2020, Bitcoin was effectively retesting its prior cycle all time high of December 17th, 2017. Perfectly. Like it was perfectly retesting its prior all time high. And then we had that final solar eclipse, which would synchronize with October 2nd for us here. And then we just went up immediately after that. So that's a possibility. But then we also have in the prior cycle before that, we've seen some weird post fourth solar eclipse shakeouts. But there's nothing wrong with shakeouts. It's just a necessity in most cases to for the market maker to have retail investors give them their bag and also to liquidate leverage traders. So at this time, it's not like it's 100%. It has to be on October 3rd that we just start mooning. But we have, of course, been looking pretty good lately. And I mean, shit, Bitcoin could be at 68K by Monday if we want to push. And when I say Monday, I mean Monday's close. So technically Monday night, depending on how Monday goes. Anyways, we're not going to be talking too much about crypto here today. I just told you all that I'm releasing a free crypto course in a couple days, so you're getting pampered with crypto gnosis completely for free in that video. And then I'll also be creating that new YouTube video. Tomorrow I have this Red Pill podcast coming up, so your boy's been busy. I'm all. I appreciate your super chat. You said, how do you perceive time? Well, time is an illusion, but it's an illusion we all agree upon. It's belief. Time is belief. We all agree it is the time that it is, and it's a convenience for most of us. But as for how do I relate to time, what's my relationship with time? I always get asked, how old are you? And I say 400 years old. It's my little joke, and every time I say it, people chuckle or people get offended. It's one or the other. But I've been saying that shit for so long now that it just rolls off the tongue. I don't even think about it. And I believe that I've been here many times, and I'm just getting a little bit better at swimming through the simulacrum on every time I come back here. I feel like I've respawned like in Grand Theft Auto. Funny enough, when you die in that game, you respawn at the hospital. Have you guys ever thought about that? But time's an illusion. It's a necessity for us all to have something to agree upon, and in many ways. But one of the things that I've started to realize maybe 5 or 6, 7 years ago is how I've always been fascinated by time. I've always been. Even before I started getting into, you know, decoding these market cycles and having the outlook that I have regarding the economy and all of that stuff, like I've always been very, very fascinated with time and numbers, right? And those two things are both needed to exist. So, great question. But I also think that time is what you believe it to be. So I'll just wrap it up with that to give you something with some powerful utility. Time is whatever you believe it to be. So if you call yourself old, well then you are. If you call yourself sick, well then you are. If you call yourself beautiful, well, then you are. And I know there's always going to be the judgment either from the outside or from you. You could always do the thing called lying, but just being honest with yourself, being true to yourself, and having this knowing that this avatar body that you have isn't the thing that is beautiful or not beautiful. That's a momentary rental vehicle. You were given the keys to that car for a short window of time in a very expansive, infinite timeline. You are infinite consciousness with an identity right now. That identity is a man or female. It's John or Jennifer. It's uh, whatever you have been cast under by culture, by society. I know right now this is really under attack, what I'm saying, because we're in the apocalypse of identity where we have all this trans stuff going on and people are like, I'm a they, them, heather, right? I'm there as my pronoun. My pronoun is when. My pronoun is when. Ugh, we need to laugh. Peter Tuatara, sending you lots of love, bro. You said, are carrots man-made? I mean, a lot of fruits and vegetables are man-made, meaning that they've been genetically modified into the form that we currently see them at most grocery stores. But there's always a more natural heirloom version of whatever it is, right? For instance, a lot of coffee that we consume, the coffee fruit, it's been very, very modified to meet the demand that we have for it, right? Of everyone on earth drinking a couple cups of coffee a day. But if you look at the coffee that's in Ethiopia, it's heirloom. So each bean is a different shape, size, slightly different color after it's roasted. And when you say carrots, you have carrots that are purple, you have carrots that are orange, more red colored, really pale white colored. So again, you just need to know more about the agriculture, the produce that you're getting access to. You know, it's the same thing about potatoes. Like people in the States, sometimes they go their whole life looking at this big, massive russet potato, this white flesh potato. And then in Peru, there's blue, purple, almost so bluish purple that it looks black on the inside. All these different styles of potatoes. Absolutely incredible, packed with phytonutrients and minerals. Nothing like the potato that's being used to make your standard French fries or what the Brits call chips, right? But everyone's always going to continue to go deeper down the rabbit hole and be like, well, look at the way bananas used to be with seeds, massive seeds. You could barely eat them to the Cavendish banana we have today, right? And a lot of people have said this similar things about broccoli, about carrots, capsicum. So many. I mean, it's all man-made at the end of the day when we're talking modern agriculture. Like agriculture is a product of man. So I hope that I answered as many gray areas as possible with that response. Yeah, it's the same thing from everything is energy. What does it matter that is man-made or not man-made? And like, how would you really know? Like, all of the things you're consuming dealt with human interaction. I mean, you probably paid for it, right? Lots of humans were involved in the whole process from soil to your digestive system. But the common fruit juice is full of sugar. Um, fuck. Where do you even begin? Yeah. Should I do it? Do I waterboard or do you guys waterboard? Which one? Yeah. Yeah, that's boring. Just D, I appreciate your super chat. You said, "Can you decode November 5th?" No, 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 no. I don't do decodes of people's birthdays and all of this. It's too much, and I don't have enough. Like, but I mean, I appreciate you. You said, "Wishing you a great weekend, Jordan." Just D, I appreciate you. I'm sending you lots of love, but I don't do the decodes because if I was to allow that and open up this the doors to that, I would be decoding cryptos and birthdays all fucking live stream, and it would not be that enjoyable for everyone. And also, of course, there's a financial thing behind it because I'd be able to make a bunch of money through those requests, but I don't want to. I would rather not. So I am very grateful for all the support, but the reason I don't open up to the decodes of those things is because I'm a real one and I just want to stick to, you know, what allows me to have the most enjoyable time for these couple of hours that I tune in with you every week. So I'll just say really quickly when we speak about November, right? Look into your date numerology and lower the number by 2. Because if your date numerology with November as the 11th month is what you're considering, just think about Novem in Latin. This is coming back to 9. So your birthday is actually 5-9 written internationally or 9-5. That would be at least a little bit more accurate of a way of perceiving it. So have fun with that. And I really appreciate your support. A1 said, had colorectal cancer, colorectal stage 4 cancer, and I survived. I agree with Waters Above. I was not as aware as I am today, so I went through a hell of conventional treatments, but I did do and I'm still here. Wow. Fucking incredible. That's amazing. That's really amazing that you are still here with us. You're a fucking warrior. It's just so amazing to hear. And not that you agree with my methodologies. I'm just like really just amazed. The resilience of the human body, right? The spirit to survive. It's incredible. This body is a masterpiece if we just allow it to heal thyself. Esoteric Aaron asks about salt, sea salt or pink Himalayan salt, Celtic salt. Do you add extra to your diet personally? So when it comes to salt, the common salts that we're putting on food, these are inorganic minerals. So they're not the most optimal, but of course, from a practical perspective, you're going to use them, right? Especially if you eat out. Now, if you're trying to have the choice between the lesser of the evils, if you will, I would actually recommend Celtic salt, but there are other very good options, such as real salt. Real salt is, I believe, taken from the Great Salt Lake in Utah. I am starting to get to a point where I'm avoiding pink Himalayan salt just because it is so buzz now. Like I remember when I first started getting into it, maybe 8, 9 years ago, and like it was even hard to find it in grocery stores, and now it's everywhere. And I've been hearing, unfortunately, that the sourcing of a lot of it is not as transparent as it once was, and also some of them are adding in dyes. So like literal dye to make it pink colored. It's fucking gross. So I just don't trust it enough. And of course, you could have that level of skepticism about many things. But just when you study the industry, you start to kind of make some realizations. But I love real salt. Celtic salt is something that I've experimented with in the past. I've started experimenting with again. But at the end of the day, it's an inorganic mineral. So I try to use it just to get the food nice, you know? But I will say, esoteric errant, to be 100% vulnerable with you, I, Waters Above, am a foodie. So I fucking love food. I love cooking. It's like it's my thing. You know, cooking and music are my thing. So enjoy your salt. You know, like find a really fire, high quality salt and enjoy it, you know. But I'm a foodie at heart, so I am always trying to get the best wine, the best, you know, whiskey, the best tomatoes for making pizza, or the best, you know, seasonings, you know, the best quality that I could possibly find, because I've really noticed the difference. And I've luckily been in touch with some incredible chefs out there. And that's really what you learn is the big difference between stellar food and mediocre food. It's the ingredient quality, right? Like even something, and I know I'm nerding out right now, so I'll move on in a minute, but like even something like Sicilian oregano, shit's mind blowing if you get a high quality version of it. And I grew up having like what's it called? Pizza seasoning, where it's like just this old, disgusting dry herbs that are probably chopped up like 18 years ago, and they're put in a plastic container sitting there dying slowly on the shelf. And then you have your first like you just smell real dried oregano on the stems. It's amazing. It's amazing. But yeah, I'm a foodie, so get the highest quality stuff you can get and invest in yourself. Jeff Garrison says, I have the mastermind program. I got to get back to it. I have a lot going on, but that's not an excuse. I need to get back into it. You know, Jeff, I mean, when the time's right, you know, when you're feeling it. And I appreciate your support, bro. Jay says, is there a benefit to doing longer dry fasts, such as 96 hours? No. It's always going to be a yes and no, okay? Because we need to analyze who we're talking about, right? If you're someone who is like morbidly obese, then we really want to be careful with that kind of stuff. Even though you can afford to do these prolonged fasts, we need to make sure that your fast breaking protocol is super dialed in. Okay. Now, if you're somebody who's severely underweight, perhaps you have something going on with uh, your thyroid, and then we also want to be careful with it. Okay. So I know I'm just throwing out like two very basic examples, but it's a little extreme. All right. Like a 48-hour dry fast is great. If you want to push it for 3 days, great. But like when you start really taking it much longer than 3 days, the risk reward sort of profile becomes questionable. And I'm not saying it's dangerous. I'm just saying that we really need to be I'll put it like this, okay? Like practice fasting, practice it like any skill. So if you're somebody who's done like 10 3-day dry fasts, then sure, you can try a 96. But if you've never even done a 24-hour dry fast, or you've never even done a 3 or 4 day water fast, then be careful trying to do a 96-hour dry fast. All right. And you really want to have that preparation phase dialed in, and you really want to break your fast effectively as well. So my tip here for those who are interested, and I do cover this in a lot more detail in my expansion mastermind course over on my website, watersabove.com. But my recommendation for people is stick to 48 hours when it comes to the dry fast, and do the same amount of time is your dry fast is the amount of time would be your preparation, and the amount of time would be breaking the fast. So if you did a 2-day dry fast, then 2 days before that, you would try to stick to as much raw, high water content fruit as possible, and then do your 48-hour dry fast. And then after, you would break your fast with 2 full days of the same way you prepped. Okay. It's going to make it almost like a 6-day experience, but that's kind of what you want to do. You want to do it the right way. You don't want to make this huge mistake of going with really over processed, super salty, fatty cooked foods leading into a dry fast, and then you're incredibly dehydrated. You feel like shit. You're going to have a headache. You're probably going to have horrible bowel movements, and you're just going to feel depleted and lifeless and probably get a bad headache and also maybe have a very hard time sleeping. And then you go to break your fast with some shitty food, cooked, processed nonsense, and you're just going to fuck up your gut microbiota. So you do want to kind of consider that the breaking and the preparation of the fast are equally as important as the fast itself. I hope that helps. Riyadh Ali, sending you lots of love. Hope you're doing well. Aztec Kid says, "Can one's mind be too open?" Mm, yes. What happens when your mind is too open is you transform into a pelican. You become a stork. Yeah, you become a stork, and then you start delivering babies all across the world. It's crazy. You become light itself. Pavel, sending lots of love, bro. Darren, appreciate your super chat, brother. Hope you're doing amazing. You said, did my podcast with Black Swan Capitalist. I believe that one of those brothers follows me. I forgot his name, but I checked him out very quickly, YouTube video that he had, and I could tell that he's okay with some spice. But I don't know enough about Black Swan Capitalist's work as a whole. But you said pretty big channel they have. My YouTube's What's Tomorrow's Like was a rough one, but I got some funny stuff in there. Much love. Thanks for the inspiration. Well, that's what I do. I push people to create things. And I'm glad that you took the baton and ran with it. It's beautiful. Got almost 600 people hanging out with us. I appreciate y'all. Sending lots of love. Infinity Meta says, any advice on how to control emotion from being too deep down the rabbit hole, like the loneliness? Well, first and foremost, realize you are not alone. We are all one. This is important. So, the last thing I'll say is emotions misguide you, feelings lead you. Jay Daniel says you could say time is belief, but you could also say time is an experience. Well, sure, the time that you've experienced, right? Because we can say 1776 was the year that the United States signed the Declaration of Independence to become the country called the United States. But you did not experience that time, at least in this avatar. But the whole way that works is through the thing called his story, history, and we all believe that, right? Because if we disagreed with that, you'd be going against the herd and you'd be going against what everyone else believes. So there's belief built into the thing called the past. And then, of course, there's belief about the thing we call the future, neither of which you've personally experienced. And also, you can't do anything about, you can't control or adjust or have any influence on what will happen 15 days from now at 9:30 a.m. Maybe you'll be having an explosive diarrhea from the Taco Bell you ate the day prior, but I don't know. Maybe you were a good boy and you had some, you know, so no, I'm just fucking with you. But the point is that time is belief. I mean, no matter how you chop it up, it's fun to riff and have fun with. And I'm not disagreeing with you, of course. The time that you've experienced is your experience, but when we're speaking holistically, there's of course boundaries here, right? Robert Hoffman says, I'm a straight guy, but ended up in a gay club. Beers for free here. What happened? Robert, be careful how many beers you have tonight. Okay, bro? Uh, this is a public service announcement. And be careful who gives you beer. Make sure it's still closed up. You don't know. You don't know what could happen. All right. Better yet, go fucking home. Go home. Go hang out with your girlfriend or something. I don't know. Do you have a wife or maybe go to a straight bar? Then no worries. Unless you're unless you're trying to get a go exploring tonight. I don't know. That's what you're into. J Daniel 5721. Thoughts on CMOS? Yes, I've actually started recently um experimenting with CMOS gel. If it's within your budget, go for it. There's a company that I was able to find. I forgot the name of it, but it's like three ingredients, basically purified water, sea moss, and like lime juice. It's great. Very easy, convenient, but it's just experimental. I'll report back when I have some results. Shanti 1949 offering some words of wisdom regarding getting off the interwebs. Sometimes it's important to get detached from the world wide web, caught up in that spider's web and the illusion of these optics here in internet land. I agree. I agree with Shanti 1949. Some powerful things there for sure. Got a super chat from Infinitely Curious. I appreciate you. You said, I was steeping on the thought of creating a curiosity camp for several years now, but your course has turned my heat up and now I'm brewing. So grateful for the inspiration. I appreciate that. I mean, hopefully it inspired you to be more in your power and more in your creative essence. I'd hope. I'm pretty sure that's like the main theme of almost everything I've ever done, whether it be crypto focused or decoding or the Expand Your Mastermind and the new project I have coming 2025, which I'm really excited to launch that. I'll save that for another time, but it's always about creating. It's always about building. It's about taking action, not just sitting around and twiddling our thumbs and waiting for the day that never comes. So, whatever it is that you're cooking up, serve it. Serve it to the people because I know we need it. Whatever it is, we need it. And I appreciate you. Wow. Quiet Dawn Says, I'm grateful for you opening up my heart and mind. I'm struggling to understand how some are so tragically taken from the Matrix. We lost 3 young people in a tragic car accident, and it's just heartbreaking. Wow. Don, it seems that a couple of wolves that are here with us today have experienced loss quite recently. And that is very tragic to hear. I'm, it's tough to be in this position and say anything because words are just words. But I am very grateful for you with what you've gone through to take the time to tune into this today. That actually means so much to me. So I really appreciate you being here. I know that there's so much suffering going on in this world right now. All the stuff that's happening right now in Lebanon, it's really, really fucked up. So, yeah, it's unfortunate to be in a position where we're only able to communicate with words. A1 says, thanks, Waters. I mean so much to hear that. You have no idea since no one has ever said that to me, not friends or family. They left me to die for real. Wow. Yeah, you guys are about to start making me emotional, man. Fuck. Gotta hold it together, man. Still got like 40 minutes with y'all. Soul of Hefe says Hokkaido, Japan, best pizza I ever had. I mean, of course, though, those Japanese people are legends, bro. Like everything they do is fire. These these fuckers start making scotch and it's amazing, right? They could do anything. It's incredible. The dedication to the craft that Japanese people have is something that inspires me so much. I'm very serious about what I'm saying right now. But if you ever get a chance to head over to Naples, Italy, Napoli, that's where the pizza's at. It's amazing there. Check out Pizzeria da Michele or Sorbilo. Both amazing. And both have a plant-based option with the marinara pizza. Oh, Dustin, ask no more, fam. He says, can you nerd out on a pasta recipe? Yes, I can. So, one of my favorite pastas is called fusilli lunghi. It's like a very long spiraled pasta, fusilli. And this pasta that I'm about to teach you is a white bean pasta. So, it's made with cannellini beans. And what you do is you cook like about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic, minced or crushed, however you like, and cook that in some water, no oil, with a little bit of salt. Then once it starts kind of cooking up, getting a little bit, more cooked down, then you want to go ahead and add a bunch of cherry tomatoes, high quality cherry tomatoes, or if you have access to heirloom tomatoes, go with those. And it's not a tomato sauce. So I should give you some what are they called? My mind's drawing a blank. It's an hour and 20 minutes. So help me God. Anyways, you know what the hell I mean. 2 cans of cannellini beans per like 1 decent sized tomato. And then cook the tomato in that garlic. Then add some dried oregano, red chili flakes to just the tomato and garlic. Then once the tomatoes cook down, then I want you to throw in 2 full cans of cannellini beans, including the liquid. Don't throw the liquid away because the liquid makes the sauce. And then just get as much salt as you like and a little bit of fresh parsley. It's like a white pasta dish. not tomato sauce based, but it does have tomato for acidity. And that's all. It's very, very, very simple. It's basically just parsley, cherry tomatoes, cannellini beans, garlic, salt to taste, chili flakes for spice, of course. The parsley is there for that freshness, and fusilli lunghi. It's going to change your life. Mm. Another pro tip: save the pasta water and cook the pasta. You know what al dente is, but like, don't overcook it. Finish it in the sauce and add pasta water to that sauce after you've put the pasta inside of that sauce recipe that I just gave you. You could do this with other pastas. It's just like some of them suck. Like it sucks to make this with linguine or spaghetti and something like penne. Don't do that. That's wrong. There's also some other more common pastas that you could find that are maybe easier to find than that one that I told you. Bow tie pasta's a good one, but that's my favorite pasta recipe actually, and I am able to make it even if I travel. So I like that too. It's pretty easy to find those ingredients. The Dr. Kelly Show. Kelly, if you're listening right now, I literally know the story you're talking about. It's crazy, right? I heard about this. This dude that ended his fast with potatoes and died. So, I mean, I'm what I've been telling you guys about fasting is like decades worth of fucking research and information that's been compiled into like 2 minute segments here and responses in these live streams. Like a lot of avoiding errors, if you know what I mean. So the Dr. Kelly show, if you know about fasting, I mean, I'm sure you've heard some horror stories. So I've been trying my best whenever I do answer to people without even knowing really what I'm working with here. Um, I'm trying my best to provide people with avoiding some of those common pitfalls and big mistakes. Sam asks, "What's the background video?" It's Zion National Park in Grand Ole, Utah. Hail Metallica, sending you lots of love. You said, "What do you think the apex predators banter about? I wonder what kind of people they really are. Honorable or evil, curious about their souls." Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm just a humble Puerto Rican Patrick Star living under a rock with long hair, and I'm a loser, man. Like I'm not king of the castle. I wasn't born with like a moat in front of my front door. Pinkies up. I don't know what the fuck they banter about. It's probably some weird ass shit though, because when you have everything you could want, I think you explore your options. And that's how you end up with like this Diddy situation, or like a lot of these politicians and people that are being used for optics. Even they probably have the most wicked and weird conversations you could ever imagine. But also because they're so separate from the obstacles that you or I would have to deal with in our path, um, they are probably so lonely and bankrupt spiritually because really all they have is materialism. That's really all they have. So when all you have is materialism, but you're spiritually bankrupt and you're kind of relying on things like Kabbalah and the dark arts to be able to deal with this life, to be able to even handle it. Um, I don't want to sit here and call it evil because I don't really know. I mean, and this is how consistent I am, and I'm just trying to be vulnerable with you. And I talked about this on the one-on-one podcast yesterday. Like so many people, when they learn about the elite, they're like, "Oh, they're all a bunch of pedophiles or something." But it's like, just take a moment to like look at a registry just in your local zip code, and you'll find there's pedophiles that live in your neighborhood, bro. These aren't famous celebrities or important people, and there's tons of them. So if your metric for what this is like that standard, then it's like it's time to wake up because there's so much quote unquote evil in your own backyard. You feel me? So I'm just careful with all of that judgment because to me, it doesn't even serve me at all. Like, it doesn't serve my purpose to sit around uh, categorizing what other people are. I just know what I'm about. I know I was having fun before with the whole Patrick Star thing, but for real, like, I'm aware that I'm infinite consciousness. And it's not that they're souls, it's that they're soul. There's just one. And we're all fractaling from that source. So I'm being serious right now, you know? And I mean, it is what it is. They're gonna be up to whatever they're up to. And I just know that I have this opportunity here with this platform and what I'm doing with this life and this now moment to be honorable. That's what I'm for. And they're gonna just do what they're gonna do. But I appreciate you, Hell Metallic. I hope you're having a beautiful weekend. Anthony, I appreciate the super chat, bro. You said, how do you know when you are on resentment mode and thoughts on competition? Thank you. Much love. I love this question. I mean, the resentment thing is because you're in an experiment. You need to go into a relationship mode. Oh, we're back. My boy's eating this Doritos bag again. If you guys are looking on the screen, Sandy Cheeks over here with a bag of Frito Lays. Anyways, Anthony, you have a choice with how you communicate with all, including yourself. And when you choose the resentment mode, you're continuing an experiment and you are just the mad scientist who gets to, dictate the controls and the variables, etc. You're the one who makes the fine print. You're trying to play God, but you're not being God. Feel my words right now. See, when you go into a relationship, then you are being divine. You relate. There's no room for resentment when you relate. So this is part of our remembering. I get the competition side of things, but my take on it all is that the only thing I'm in competition with is my own mind. Everything else is not even worth my time. You feel me? From a spiritual perspective. Nothing else is even worth my time. The only final boss in this video game called life is my mind. And I've decided to make friends with that guy. The same thing with my ego. My ego is my co-pilot. I'm not going to get upset at that guy. He serves a purpose. I like having a co-pilot. If I want to fall asleep for a couple hours, someone could take over the wheel. Like, we live in a world right now where if you're the masses, your ego is so weak and damaged and you're selfless. And it's the same thing for the people who are in cults. The people who are in cults, who are in these group think cyclones, this never-ending destruction of the village of spirit, always in this. It's like the gerbil in the gerbil wheel, the rat on the wheel cycling around forever. They have no access to intuition and they want to have somebody else think for them. So the cult member lets their cult leader or lets their guru or lets their politician or their president or their governor or whomever dictate what's right for them. But anyways, getting back to this. It's your choice. When you choose to be in resentment mode, you're going against the concept of relating. You're just continuing an experiment. And therefore, you'll get results like an experiment provides. I'm just being real with you right now. You see, when you're in love, when you're in relation, when you're relating, there is no winner or loser. There's no you beat me this time. There's none of that shit. It's that you're here helping each other remember what you really are. That's what we're here for. Fallon Blue says, "Where have you been?" In Bikini Bottom, hanging out with Squidward. But hey, if it's your first time hanging out with us, I appreciate you. Lots of love. Spencer J, I'm going to try to keep up with that. But it's hard for me to be everywhere at once, you know? Got about 500 people still hanging out with us. I appreciate y'all. Anel said, "Sending lots of love and light your way. I'm pregnant and experiencing lots of brain fog. First of all, congrats on bringing another little wolf pup into this simulacrum. You said, I have like no memory. Any suggestions? Where are you at with coffee, caffeine, tea? Where are you at with that? That's pretty important, I think. We kind of just want to reduce any overstimuli on the adrenals, in my opinion. And maybe if you can, again, guys, I'm not working with much here besides Anel, pregnant, and that's pretty much it. I don't know height, weight, age, nothing, right? I don't know current dietary protocol. So I'm really just kind of shooting arrows in the sky here and hoping for the best. But in my opinion, if we can maybe reduce the coffee intake, and especially, I really hope none of this energy drink bullshit. None of that. Okay. Garbage. Basura. So none of that. And I'm not anti coffee, by the way. It's just if you are going to do coffee, it needs to be the highest fucking quality possible. Like it needs to be like what I said earlier, like say coffee, right? Where like these dudes are going to source and paying these farmers top fucking dollar with the best processing methods. Like everything is like Michelin star coffee. Okay. That might not be the case for you. Another thing is how are you brewing it? This, that, and the third, right? So, in all, if you don't want to go down that route of the learning curve, I would just say reduce it during this time whilst you're pregnant, for sure. Also, get hydrated, bump up the watermelon, cucumber, all melons consumption. And then what I was going to say a little bit ago is I want you to start considering things like raw sprouted walnuts, pecans, um, pistachios, again, raw, meaning unsalted, unroasted, raw. I'll say it again, raw. Highest quality possible. Okay. And sprouted is even better. Just those three would be amazing: walnuts, pecans, pistachios. Um, and I am not sure what else your protocol has in it, but try to reduce these like processed foods, you know? Like I get it, like women get pregnant and then they want to eat a tub of ice cream. That's okay. There's a solution to this. Go buy some bananas if you have a blender. If you don't have a blender, don't listen to what I'm saying because you're not going to be able to do it. But if you have a blender or some sort of, NutriBullet style thing, buy a bunch of bananas. This is like the only time I would ever recommend getting bananas, by the way. You let them get super, super ripe, right? So like the skins are turning like almost black. Chop those, so peel them, then cut them into coins, and then put those in freezer bags. Like you can just wait till the whole bunch of bananas, like all 6 or 8 of them, are just super overripe. Cut it into coins, put that in a freezer bag. Try to have it so like they're not all mushed together because that will help at the later stage once they're frozen. And then you throw that in a blender with like a little bit of oat milk or something, and you got yourself some whole food, plant-based ice cream, and it's literally just made out of fucking bananas. And you could get a little fancy, throw some pecans in there, throw some pistachios, some of those nuts that I mentioned a moment ago. Even some berries on top is fine. If chocolate is amazing, just again, we want to look for quality, really high quality chocolate, like 80% dark chocolate. Look at the ingredients too. And also with that chocolate, make sure it is single origin. So that means when you buy the chocolate bar, it says 70, 75, 80%, either of those numbers. And it will also say something like Ecuador or Jamaica or, right? It will say the name of the country that the cacao comes from. That's important. Single origin dark chocolate. It's a little bit more expensive, but this is really packed full of phytonutrients and minerals. It's going to be very helpful. Um, yeah, that's an amazing starting point. I think this will help. Savvy artist nomad. Oh, you're funny. I'm never gonna read it, but you're funny. Ari. I don't know if Robert is still with us, but homie said, Robert, listen to your subconscious. You may be gay. Yo, that is so fucking hilarious. Mm. Yo, Quest Beyond said, shout out to Reanimator Coffee. I'm not sure if you like work with Reanimator, if you're affiliated, or if you're just from Philadelphia or whatever, but definitely shout out to Reanimator. My only thing with Reanimator, and this isn't fair for 99% of humanity to hear, but for me, as somebody who's really embedded in the specialty coffee game, I would just rather they roast it a little lighter. But I've been following along with this company for a long time now. And I do believe they did roast lighter maybe 7 years ago, 6 years ago. It started to get a little darker. And that could be for several reasons. I mean, turnaround, people coming in that are newer and becoming roasters for them. But they're absolutely amazing company. So many nice things to say about them. That's by no means any jabs. Question about olive oil. I would just say don't cook with it. Keep it cold. So get cold pressed, high quality olive oil, and make sure that you put it on the food cold. In that case, it's not as bad, but just cooking oils in general makes them toxic. So, yeah, a nice high quality cold pressed olive oil put on top of the food cold would be smarter. Also, if you're going to go out of your way to spend all this money on a high quality olive oil, you rather not cook all the life force out of it and all the taste, because that's what happens. Like the moment you start heating up this oil past a certain point, you're going to remove all of these volatile compounds that makes it taste so good. So just keep it cold. Soul of Hefe, are you calling our great Lord Kamala Harris, a camel toe Harris. How dare you? How dare you? But yeah, she is a wood dragon. It is a wood dragon. I don't know what gender that thing is, but yeah, I don't think it even knows what gender it is or what race or what. I mean, probably a good thing, right? Probably a good thing to not know. You could just become whatever you got to be at the moment. But from a more serious note, yes, 1964, powerful year, good year, good year for the. Sounds like something Trump would say. Good year, best year ever. I told you. All right, family. I'm gonna be wrapping this one up here. As I brought up a little bit ago, I will be releasing a free crypto course in just a couple days over at watersabove.com. Really excited to share that with you all. I will send out more updates when that is ready. Uh, Probably be releasing that with my next YouTube video, which is scheduled for October 1st. So, right there, kicking off the new month strong. Likely before October 1st, I will already have a extended bonus version released for my Patreon supporters. It's my way of giving back and showing them how grateful I am for all the continued support over the years. It really means so much to me, and I've decided to put in the after hours, the overtime in the background behind the scenes to get them this course. And I will let you know whenever it's ready for the Patreon supporters. You will receive a link through Patreon. And then on October 1st, I'll be releasing the free course over on YouTube. In the meantime, really grateful for every single one of you. For those who are Patreon supporters already, you could be looking forward to that extended course. And also, for those Patreon supporters, I will have a new Red Pill podcast out tomorrow, sort of dedicated to this October 2nd solar eclipse. Really, really powerful podcast tomorrow. Seriously, we're in the final moments. So this is kind of the make or break time frame. So I'm really excited. I'll be having this new podcast out tomorrow. And a new course as well. Free course coming in a couple days. Wishing you all a beautiful rest of your weekend in the Matrix. Much love.